Hey there everybody. So last time got it up to this point, so that's all the bits on, and I'm going to show you now how to get from this to this. So as you can see, I've fitted most of the stairwell now. To try and get that a bit better in focus for you. And the front's on now. Got the stairs running all the way down and around, and as promised in the concept about stairs, look, you can put people part way up the stairwell. Bases fit. Okay, they don't fit under every stair, but that was expected. There should be enough reaching space for you to be able to put minis in anywhere, even once it's sealed. But I will leave the roof off the top. The roof will still be removable. I'm not completely daft about these things. So I'm going to show you how to fit these stairwells, and despite concepts, they are nothing's quite as easy as it ought to be. Nothing goes quite according to plan, and you probably notice there are slight unevennesses, bits where like I'm using just random bits of material and just wedging in order to make stuff fit up. But for the most part I'm pretty happy. Everything's come together, like as you can see, you've seen, like managed to fit on. Particularly these spiralling ones. I think in future I will plan my building so I don't have to make such complicated stairwells, because this has been awkward in many respects. And there are stairs that need re-gluing, but like in a previous video I think I said I reckoned you could maybe make one of these in about a day. It's taking me about 5 hours to fit a single stairwell. It's been a total time drain, but I think it's been worth it despite like things not being quite perfect. I think it's come out, it's looking really sweet. If you consider these are just my bog standard normal buildings as well. So first things first, fitting in the key landings. So each floor has to have a landing. It's for access to the doors. You can't actually see the upper story doors at the moment. And what I'm doing is, first of all, I just got a piece of this, which is of the pallet, which is cut to the right size so it slots in. And in order to make it the right depth, I'm slotting it in, holding it in place, and I'm just lifting it, and I am running a pencil along that edge. That way I know that that is going to be an accurate cut, and I'm flipping it around. This is what I mean by fitting. This is a fitting process. Each step of the way you're going to have to mark everything up. So yeah, just using this as a means of ascertaining the correct dimensions. So I'm just going to cut this down and I'll mark it up, and I'll show you how I'm marking it up for the individual landings. So here we are then. First one is marked up. This will all be cut out. This will be this level. Now on this level, I'm running this straight into the corner so I don't have to fit it. That's what I mean by fitting. So on the next floor, however, there is a depth away from the wall that I want this to come out to, and I could measure it, but you'll tend to find that no matter how hard you try, everything will always be a little bit inaccurate. So in order to fit this, you're going to want to get the material where you want it, and use the gap, and then that'll give you your marker. And then this is my 33mm. By the way, I'm doing 33mm walkway, so the width of the stairs is carried all the way through, just to make it as easy as possible to access. But then I'll just draw the line in so you can see. So then there's the angle that will take. So it's not a clean 45 degree. It's not a simple markup. And I'll just cut these out and fit these, and then I'll get into putting in the awkward stairs. So here we've got the landing for the first floor, or second floor if you're in America. Yeah. In the UK you have ground floor, first floor, second floor. I think in America you have first floor, second floor, third floor. You don't have a ground floor specifically. But I would have to check that. Do say if I'm incorrect. Now from that piece, the other piece that made it up, so if I just go out there and focus on the other piece that made it up, I have marked the line down the middle. So this, and this is 33mm in from each side, so this fits into the stairwell width, and then this is 33mm up. And this is what I'll use to make the spiralling part of the staircase that comes down around from the top floor. So this will start to form the pieces that go in underneath. Just got to cut it in two, but this is where you're starting to use your offcuts as such as well. So I'll just get this cut down and then I'll start showing you fitting. Here's a close up. I'm running across the long edge of the piece that I'm fitting, but I'm putting glue in along the short edge next to the windows. I know that the top edge of the window is the bottom edge of the floor, so I'm just running glue in here. Not too little, not too much. One of those kind of affairs. If you get it right, every time you glue something with this stuff, the kind of overall structure gets stronger. So there is something to be said for number of components and pieces. I'm going to try and, well, I'm not going to try, I'm going to design some more simple to construct and ways of using materials more economically. So I want, first of all, I want it level with that. Second of all, I want it level with that. So I'm using my fingers to line up the bottom edge. Once it's so I can feel where the bottom edge is lined up with the top of the window, and then you just got to force it against the surface. For some reason, this glue doesn't seem to have the same. It's the same. It's the second tube of the same glue, right? But for some reason, it's not bonding as rapidly as the last tube from the. I mean, it's literally the same pack, and it's very confusing. The last glue, it was pretty much contact adhesive, effectively, like super glue. Stick it on, poof, stayed where it was. Whereas this stuff's been a bit more awkward. So when I've been fitting it, I've just been running my fingers under the edge of this window here to get all this lined up properly. Then this piece here, which is going to be the first step there, first of the spiral stair. So that's the side that I cut out. But then I'm flipping it because I want that extra width sticking out so that you can see that the stair comes underneath the first floor bit. So I want, because I want the stairs to slightly overlap if you're looking straight down, so it's like a real staircase. So step number one, I would put glue on it. I don't know if you can actually see, but I've got all the guidelines that I drew on when in the planning phase. And I'm just using them as the guidelines. And I think I may have to trim these a bit. Get your head down so you're looking at it. So that stair number 1, like, get your head down low to check that they're even. If you're not sure where they need to go, you can't actually see that, can you? So if I just flip that around, you can see I've got all the pencil lines. So it's all marked up for. So I've put it in a slightly funny angle. Sorry, I'm just having to. And this is what I mean about fitting. You will have to redo and redo until it's right. Don't worry too much about perfect spacing, because you can. Sorry, there you go. There's that one in. And then this next one, which I'm just see there's little kinks on the end. I'm just trimming them off with a sharp craft blade, just to make sure that the edge which I'm putting up against the wall, make sure they go in the right way round. Double check that. At the moment I'm doing bottom edge to the line, so that's going to go in there. Do check and recheck the position, so just make sure you know that each piece goes where you want it to go. And this is the kind of stage where all your offcuts and bits and pieces are being used to formulate the next stairs. And so what I'm really trying to do here is I'm trying to get the tips of this to line up. I might take some scissors to it, but then if I just drop it down to make sure the glue won't actually bond if you don't get like a flat surface to flat surface, and especially with small pieces like this, that can be quite difficult at times. And for some reason, I don't know what's going on. No idea. I'm failing to get a bond, you see. I don't know why, like I say, it's glued, not just not working properly. Considering that the last tube, the same stuff, it was like. So I'm just trimming that bit off, checking that angle, trying to make sure it's a clean 90 degree. And this is what you end up doing. You end up trimming, fitting, making each bit work as best as you can. And I'm very confused by this, because the glue was absolutely fine before. Whereas now I'm having to hold it. If you have to hold something in place, do just be patient. If it takes 30 seconds to stick, it takes 30 seconds to stick. But it's like, I am very confused by this right now. Especially when it was forming, like I say, such a solid bond before. So in theory, if I let go, there you go. If it doesn't bond first time, what happens is the glue seals the end of your piece that you've cut, and that will then not glue the same. Now this bit you can't really see, it's got a bit rough, so I've got a bit of sandpaper here. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I'll just give it a quick smooth out. Sometimes with this stuff there is rough edges. I assume they are using, in this instance, a saw to cut it out. But again, it doesn't particularly matter. I'm just applying glue. I know roughly where everything goes. This is actually the third one I've made, because the first one took me forever, because I was working out sort of how to get all of the pieces. And again, the thing okay, again, there's a slight angle on the cut here, right? So that rather than it being vertical, And that means it has a slight downwards tilt, which I don't want, because it means that I can't apply it. So it's like getting vertical edges becomes really important when you're doing this. So there is a little bit of perfectionism involved in the cut process. And patience. I say patience is a virtue, but I disagree. I think everybody can have patience if they can be bothered to learn it. There you go. And now you see that all these pointed tips, they don't quite match up. In fact, I think I'm going to have to cut some of them, but what I want to do first is just get them all attached and bonded. The other thing I'll do is I'll create spacing and I'll stick them together in such a way. So I actually have a pair of scissors here, and I'm going to see if I can just snip the nose off. The reason I'm not too fussed about using anything like more proper than a pair of scissors is because this essentially is going to be pretty invisible. Try again this other one. So what I really want from these is I want these tips to roughly line up. The next thing I'm going to do in order to get the spacing correct is I'm going to be getting all of these teeny weeny little offcut bits, and I'm going to wedge them in between the stairs. That way I know that there is a 3mm gap in between each stair, which is deep enough for your average base. Or certainly for the bases that I'm using. In fact, I don't know what's going on with this glue. It's not working very well. I'm just going to have to re-glue this one. So yeah, there has been some funny business with this. I don't know whether this super glue is a sort of the factory in which it was made was but I really want these. Like I said, I want the leading edges of these to match up. I'm just going to have to hold this in place for a second. But once I've got this in place, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick these three together with like a thin strip of material which is off-cut. Like I've got tons of just slithers sort of all down here, but I'm going to take a piece like this. This is actually a wedge shape. Checking you can see that. There is enough space, I might want that a little bit higher. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this along these three bits here. Okay, so I'm fit in the second floor, or third floor if you're in America. And like you can see that I've just cut away a bit here. This is just so that where it comes up to the edge with this piece of, I suppose, handrail effectively, it ends up flush on the outside. These little things, getting it perfect is not going to be spot on. Also, I miscalculated everything. I mean, I don't know where I went wrong with this. This bit here should be here, so there should be a 19mm wall, and then I should butt this straight against that. But I've completely botched the measurements up there, so I've actually had to cut this bit out from here, which I will sand off in a moment, and move that up, and I'm having to do that on all of them, and this only is, you know, it fits, it's right. These should come 3mm past the edge of the base, but because of the way these are fitted together, they don't quite come out past the base. And this one comes out a little bit, and this one doesn't. And all of this stuff I'll clean up at the end. But so here's the other landing. I finally managed to get these steps at the bottom to actually sit in place. Get that back in focus. So they're now sat in place properly. So you see that I've got this piece running down, which is they're all attached to. Well, they're meant to be all attached to. They're being funny with me. And I'm just going to carry on running in the steps here. I have pre-cut all of the enough steps for all of these runs. I only need 2, so I've got a set of 5 from the last set of runs, and I'm going to use them as the lower set of steps. Each set of steps is 5 steps. This takes you up, I think, roughly 1.5 inches. Well, it's 11 steps in total, takes you up 3 inches, so you know, give or take a teensy little bit. And as with putting in those other steps, I'm checking the lead edges for which is the most vertical, and then I am sticking the other edge, and again I'm just using by eye, trying to get these to sit as perpendicular as possible. I started off, I think I showed a demo where I was using a block to set these perpendicular, but that only really applies if you stick them to the wall first. Now you see that like the tail of the bit that I've used is becoming a useful point of reference for doing this. I'm just holding this for quite a long time because I don't know what it is, but this particular pot of glue seems to be rubbish. I will use it anyway, just because really I have to. You don't really have much choice. So there you go, you starting this. This starts to build in the stairwell. Once I get down to this level, so one more step, and you can see where I have the marks for, and I'm leaving a bit of an overlap, but you can see the step's still moving, whereas previously I was finding you could pretty much just do that and it wouldn't move, it would become very rigid, whereas now they seem to be being a lot more like flexy, which is kind of annoying really. I've got tons of bits of offcuts here. I'm still regularly having to cut panels. For instance, if I want this to sit in under here, I'm just checking this. I know that this is 33mm width because I pre-cut this for another job, but then it wasn't quite right. And can you just see there's a slight angle on there, a slight bevel. So I'm just getting a knife and a sharp craft knife, and I'm just trimming that to be as flush as I can. Having trimmed it, sandpaper is your friend in the squaring off process. You want these to be as square as you can make them. Then, and again, what I mean by fitting process is, okay, there are already lines marked on it. I'm going to cut this back to the upper of these two lines. This is an offcut from the remnants of the piece that was used for cutting out the pieces which are making the top couple of stairs on the staircase. I would strongly recommend do not throw any little pieces away at a later date, not necessarily right away. Use what you need as you use it, but actually sort the pieces into relevant sizes, and you can use them for building other stuff. You know, you can build like plant pots and bins and tables and worktops. This is quite a carvable material. I have seen some videos of some really amazing stuff being produced with this. So now I've got my square edge and I have it cut down to the size that I want. Again, I'm running glue in down one edge. I know this isn't very strong right now, but that's life. In fact, I'm just checking one measurement. So the pencil line that's actually on there indicates where 33mm is. That will be used as a point of reference for the stairwell as it cuts to the right and dips. So you see I'm just holding it in place until it's secure. This is a very rough process, very inconsistent process. So yeah, this is how I am installing stairs. The next thing is starting to install banisters. Don't know what you might call them elsewhere. So I'm just marking in and then getting the right size, drawing a line. This is what I mean about fitting as well. I don't know if you can see I'm just marking a line in off of the material itself. I then cut this down, and you can't really, I mean you could have all these pre-measured, pre-cut, but what you will tend to find is that they don't fit, and you end up having to fit anyway. So in my opinion, you just as well leave this to now. Also, if you are just boshing out tons of pieces, by the time you get to this stage you may basically you get tired and then your cuts become lazy and you get funny angles. And I'm just going to give this a quick sound. Then just going to check that it's the right length. It is. And then I'm running glue along the bottom edge of this piece, and then just on the dab on the end there, that will fit it, or fix it well enough for these purposes. And again, the thing about these stairwells is they start out kind of delicate, but by the time you've got all of the pieces, all of the sides, everything in place, by the time you're done, they're actually pretty strong. I've been very impressed, because in the past when I've been making stuff with a sort of combination of foam board and plasticard, or what is it, hard styrene sheets as you call it in the US. Sorry, I'm getting a bit croaky, all this talking. I found that if you, the plasticard in particular is has a tendency to come to pieces, and again you see I'm using my fingers, I'm actually bracing my finger against the bottom edge of this platform so that I'm keeping the piece as a whole flush. I'm just making sure that it butts into this corner so it's flush in the corner, and then that acts, there's the banister fitted, and then the next piece of the banister will actually get fitted underneath so it comes out from under there and down the side. And the way I work this out is I take various little bits And I think this was originally a stair, sorry I'm getting right in the light here, but you have to just, not long enough. Damn it. You just sort of have to keep putting pieces in so that if you hold it in place, it's roughly the right size. Sorry, I'm finding it hard to be able to see what I'm doing and keep the camera shooting. So yeah, I mean, just to hold it in place. I'm doing this, but you see the line on the bottom table, sort of down here. I need this to be only coming as far as that line, because that line is the width of one stair, and that will leave space for the stairs to come down from here, if you see that width. So I need a piece which comes from that line all the way up to the bottom of here. So I am just going to sort that piece out. So I've got this piece cut out now, and there's a 3mm depth on the top bit, which is the same depth as the material that it's going to go underneath. So that curve cut, the angle comes straight out from there. The distance for the point that I've cut the angle to is 27mm. So it's taking into account the depth of the stair here, plus this. The overall height of the piece is 42mm because it's the depth of all these stairs, plus this. And then I've just trimmed off a 3mm by 3mm corner edge at the back here. I'm just going to give that a little clean up actually. And I'm using the rough edge, which I will just lightly sand, just to remove the worst of the texture. I'm failing to be able to speak properly, sorry. I'm just giving everything a little sand just to... And then I want this piece to fit here. So it just comes up to the edge of that step. And the first thing I'm going to do is just going to put a bit of glue on these stairs. You may realise as well, this doesn't actually quite cover all of the second step up from the landing. And I'm going to put glue on the top of this piece. And then I'm going to try and get this in right first time. And just hold. And try not to stick your hands to anything. It's just basically stuck. Just there. Check alignment. Just hold it. Then just hold it in against the surfaces, because I want the glue to form a good bond, and if the glue forms a good bond, like a bit of tension in the material, it doesn't seem to matter too much. It isn't. None of the other pieces I've made so far have sort of popped out of place once they've been stuck properly. Well, one stair, but I think that was an error in the gluing process rather than anything else. So here you can start seeing what it is, how it's coming together, and also this piece is one of the pieces from the bottom set. Now if I flip it over, I'll just get this out of the way so I can get this into focus. I've actually marked up this piece, so this here will run from here down to here. This piece of banister here will actually be there's a piece of banister for up. Well, there's a piece of banister here. Will be for the top part. It's just out of shot. So I'm going to crack on and cut these out, and I'll install this spiral stair, which functions very much the same way as this one, except that it's inverted. So I start at the bottom and work up, and I want to work a clean diagonal from the you can't see it, so just to get this in focus. In this top corner up here, I am flipping this around so that the corner this time, rather than this piece, is going right into the corner. That creates my overlap, and I'll divide this long side into 3 equal parts, which will be 11mm each because it should be 33mm. I'll also divide this into 3 equal parts so that there's 3 2mm gaps, I think, because it should be 6mm across there, and that way I get 2mm. And what I may need to do with this one is have it so that these stack one above the other, so that the 2mm is all lined up. So I'm going to get this banister, put this in, I'll put in these bits, and I'll cut out the lower part here, and I'll put in the banister up around the top part here, which is just the same as this really. And then yeah, so I'll get back to you in a moment when I've got all of that stuff done. So I've fitted most of the stairwell now. So we've got all the back edges, no stairs in here yet, but that'll be a last minute fitting job once I've got the front on. I've been doing that once I've got this bit in place. I've got to build the stairwell down from the 1st to 2nd floor in its entirety, so you can see that. I've already got the piece I'm going to use marked up, which is going to be this here. But it will get flipped around, it will get fitted in. This vertical line will get glued onto the outside edge of here. This vertical at the bottom will get glued onto here. In other ones I've done, I've used, these pieces have only been 3mm deep, and then I've fitted it so that this actually glues to the side of that and to the base of that. But this time I've swapped it around just because I wasn't thinking very hard at the time, and that's how it worked out. So I'm going to get this bit cut out, and I'll fit it into place, and then I will show you how I'm putting the stairs in for the bottom, because yeah, just so you can see for the bottom here, because I've been finding that actually it's incredibly hard to fit like the lowest stair in particular, but in order to get in once you've got the front on and get the glue in and get everything evened out, it's actually a real nuisance. So I've actually been, these are the only stairs I've been gluing onto the front piece here first, so I glue them in on here where I've got all of the lines marked out. These lines are still useful on the other pieces, even though I'm not gluing directly to them and then sticking them on. They are incredibly useful for lining everything up though when you're putting the steps in and fitting them in place. So I'm just going to cut this piece out, and then I'll fit that, and I'll show you the attaching on of the front piece. Okay, so I've just fitted in this piece, and it's gone in really easily, which I'm rather glad of, because it's been a pain in the ass yesterday. And now I'm just scrolling down because I'm going to start fitting pieces into here. So it's this way up so you can see what I'm doing. Let's get my block. I'm gonna just get an off-cut piece to put there, so I've got something to rest the block on. And I do work from the top down. The reason for this is, first of all, I've got to take a measurement and I know that this is 33mm. So that's the width of this step, or this landing. In fact, I will also just mark in it's just so I can make sure that I'm overlapping the stairs. So having just dropped that in, I've got my 5 stairs all prepared. Haven't trimmed them down, I tend to trim them as I go, and I'm just checking the edges. I'm checking which is the best angle on each end. Just using a sharp craft knife to cut away any excess. You notice that at the moment my table's a bit of a mess. It's just whilst I'm in the throes of doing all this, I don't want to throw away any pieces until I've finished fitting everything, because you'll always want a bit. I'm just going to sand off this rough edge, so that will be the back edge of the stair, so it's not too much of a problem, but it's still give it a little bit of smooth out anyway. And just trimming it so that both sides are steep angles. This is important because you're gonna want a bigger surface area, so each of these ends you want to make sure that they're as flush as possible. And when it comes to fitting, make sure, in this case I want it to go in this way around. I'll have a couple of mil overlap. Sorry, I'm a bit snuffly. The weather's just turned cold and humid here, and or cold one day, humid the next, cold one day, humid the next. It's very bizarre. It's making my schnoz a bit schnuffly. You know, I'm just using the block to fit the piece. Fit the piece there. What's been going on? Fit the piece. Make a block. Prep the next piece, fit the piece. So I'll get this fitted up and I will show you just sticking it together so you can see how much of a nuisance that is. Steps fitted, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to apply glue to the end of each step, to the end of this step and to the bottom edge of this, and that is what I will use for the initial attachment. I'll then apply glue to all the other steps and the end of the roof to fit this piece securely. But first of all, I just want to get these bottom steps lined up properly. It's worth having a check of the fit first, but I'm just racing ahead. When you're applying glue, make sure that you apply all glue to the surfaces as quickly as you can, really. It'll start to interact with the palette and it'll start to set very quickly. This is the other reason for only applying to these bottom edge pieces. There's enough flex in the palette that that's me dropping a sharp blade. Don't do that. It's very stupid. This is why you should always make sure your blades are covered. Stupid me. Okay. I don't know if you can see this, but it's not actually set flat on the board at the moment, and that's because of where it's positioned. So I'm just gonna have to move it and try and get that in focus for you. What I'm doing is I'm just lining up the edges by pointing it and keeping them flush, except that that's not going to work. See, the steps are going to go underneath. What I'm trying to do is use this right hand one which overlaps as a line up point, Force everything in. The reason I need it flush with the ground, it's just my mat's warped right. It's not that the actual building is warped. The building sits flat on the ground, but my cutting mat is actually warped a bit, hence it wasn't sitting flush. And then I'm just going to hold it. And specifically, I'm holding the stairs against the surface that the stairs can stick against, because that's the most important point of contact on this. So I'm just noticing bits of green stuff which hasn't come away. I leave the green stuff on in part because if you do want to need to do multiple layers of marking up, it's actually quite useful to not have to deal with having to rub out and then remark and rub out and remark. I mean, none of these are perfect, but you tend to find that the imperfections disappear into the whole. So as you can see, I'm holding it for quite a long time as well. This isn't just once I've held that, that should be fairly secure now. The next thing to do, back on this, refocus. The next thing to do is get my glue and just run it. I'm causing minimum separation because I don't want to peel the material apart, because at this point the glue is not set. Probably takes 5 minutes or so for the glue to set completely. So it's a case of do one, flip, yeah, you see this is a bit of a nightmare. Get it on the end of the next. Get on the end of the next. I'm using a flexor material to keep the bottom pressed together though. If you find that there are misalignments, don't worry about it too much. Sort out the alignment as you go, because that's a fitting job. And then just press everything together. Once you've pressed all this together, it'll be a case of running glue into the joints and holding those together, just so that if you start trying to fit the steps at this point, you'll end up kind of tearing the structure to pieces. You want the structure as sound as possible before. So that's kind of like the contact. And you start to see, like in the stairwell piece here, I now have both sides of the banister and they're properly lined up. You might have to trim stuff off as you go, but that's just life, I'm afraid. And hence fitting, not push these together again at the bottom. They seem to have come apart a bit. And you see this bottom step actually, I don't know if you can see the bottom step actually sticks out quite far. But I'm not too fussed so long as it's braced against, although it seems to not be quite braced against. If necessary, reapply glue. I say this is all very difficult to judge. I've been finding it changes from building to building. I'd say this has probably been the most awkward building to fit, which, depending on your point of view, could, you know, as a watcher you can see this is about as hard as it gets. Pretty much everything that could go wrong has gone wrong. I've bodged things, I've done things differently, blah and blah. But ultimately it's fine, as long as everything fits into place. Like I say, errors start to disappear the further through the process you get. And certainly by the time it's been painted and everything, it'll all start to merge and disappear even more. Just holding these stairs for quite a while because sugar. I just did something very dumb. I just broke off the bottom step, which is the hardest step to fit. Damn it. So what I'm going to do to make my life easier is, that's my step. And take my step, use that as a point of reference for measurement. Get a knife, cut, and then I am simply going to stick the piece that I've just cut off on the back edge. Basically I'm using this piece that I've just cut off as a spacer, also as a point for attaching this step to the floor. And I've not done this like this before, I'm doing it like this now because the piece was being pig. It doesn't want to go in, it doesn't want to do as it's told, so I will make it do as it's told. I'm just putting glue on either side. I think it was ever so slightly, like a fraction of a millimetre too narrow for the space. But this should make it okay. Now, what I have is I have a pair of tweezers, and I'm going to use them to reach in through the side window and get this in place, just like that. And I'm not going to tamper with it at all, I'm just going to leave it to dry. So once this glue's dry, because I want it to dry, I'll just quickly show you this as well. Where these pieces aren't attached, I'm actually going to force them together. So I'm just going to run glue in and hold them. Am I going to force them together? You know, that's actually, there's too big of a gap here, so this will get dealt with in the final stages, I think. But what I do want to do is just run glue in along this corner here. Quite generous with it. Just where it does come together, I want it to stick together and stick fast. The other thing I'll do, which I'm just gonna bring into your view, is this top corner. This I am just gonna pinch together, make sure that the outside piece is actually on the outside, and again I'm just running glue into the corner. This is like a way of spot gluing this together, and I'm going to hold it for a second, and all of this is just really for structural stability. I want as much stability in the structure before I start fitting steps. You might find that there's a bit of flex, like where stuff is set at slightly different distances, but that doesn't matter, that'll all disappear once it's fit. Like this has actually got comes out quite a lot, and that's because I fitted something else incorrectly. More for me, but it, like I say, it all works out in the end. So I'm just going to let this dry for a bit, and then I will get on to the final stair fitting before having to deal with these corners. But actually these corners will be the next video. So I'm just going to start fitting these stairs now. If possible, I like to wedge them in place and then glue them by spot gluing them. In the case of this top staircase, I'm starting at the bottom stair, I'm working upwards. It's because I tested them out and I found the ones at the bottom are easier to wedge as in it's a tighter slot gap. And what I'm just trying to do is I've got the lines, you can't see it from there, but I have the lines marked up for the heights of the stairs. I got it in perfectly a minute ago, which is why I thought I'd start here. So obviously it's going to be a pain in the ass now. And I'm just getting my head down low at the front or at the side of the building where I am sat. Trying to make sure that the step is as level as possible. And I'm just reaching in through the top and I'm spotting glue into, if glue decides to work, yeah, into either side. It does move very easily. So I'm trying not to even tap the thing. And then I'm just going to lose some light a second. Just give it a quick blow, not to help it dry, but to try and blow it into gaps a bit to encourage it to form a good solid seal. Now it has dropped ever so slightly on one side. So I'm just lifting it. The other thing I'm doing is I'm putting my finger on this edge so that I can feel when the corner of the step is actually against my finger. Trying to keep them as flush to the back edge of the railing, the handrail, or what have you, as possible. And what have I done with my other 5 steps? Oh, God. Yeah, so apparently disorganisation is now running rife. Oh no, sorry. No. So then again for the next one, if these actually glue. Again, the glue's not setting instantly like it was before, which is, I'm wondering whether there's it was the beginning of there was a batch changeover or something in the actual solvent to setting agent ratio was different in one pot to another. Not sure. Either way, just insert it. So it's a 2-hand job. And bit of a nuisance, and just again reaching in through the top, spotting glue on the top of either edge. Again, just sort of blowing at it really just to try and get it to go into gaps. Don't knock it. So yeah, I'm just in fact when I look at it from this side I can see that it's not quite. Just apply a little bit of, just move it up a bit, move it back down a bit, try and get the glue to spread. Apply pressure. By holding it together like this, what I'm hoping will happen is it will form a bond, stick solidly and actually hold the railing ever so slightly closer together than it currently is. I mean it's like fractions of millimetres, I'm talking like the difference between it being like a slightly stiff fit when I wedge them in and just falling out, and the difference is actually remarkably little. Yeah, I've been quite surprised at times. I'm just cleaning a lead edge of this step that I have here up. It's got a bit of material. Put my little bit on a blade just in case I decide to throw it on the floor again like a fool. And as I'm trying to pick the only side that really matters, right, is the leading corner, the top edge, top side on this. I want this side because this is a bit messy, this is a bit snapped and broken. So the cleanest leading corner is this, because that's going to be the most visible part of the step. And so that's the only bit that really matters. Yeah, it's sort of there, I kind of like the idea of. So you see, it becomes more and more of a nuisance. It's fine, I think, with this one. And no, just tear that one out altogether, yeah. The thing about that is it smears the glue all over the piece. This is what I mean, it's sort of... So like now I'm applying glue to either end rather than spotting it, because what I need for the piece to fix as I hold it in place. So again, I just get it roughly in place, and I'm not too fussed about overhangs and such forth. What really matters to me is that the staircase ends up looking even. Vaguely even, anyway. And again, I'm going to have to do that all the way up now, where I'm just choosing my leading edge, putting either end in. And if the glue is behaving the way this glue is behaving at the moment, do make sure that you, like if you do a fitting, like I'm kind of rushing this really, I should leave time in between each step really. I'm thinking that I might have to grabbing this one with a pair of tweezers. I'm really fussed about the side that's facing the camera being as possible, because that's the side that's going to be visible from the exterior. Also, I quite like the treads to have a slight over on it. Again, I'm just holding the... Pardon my English there. It's getting them level is the hardest part. I tend to find once they're in and they're happy, they become pretty stable pretty quickly. And then I've kind of left myself an awkward one here because I'm doing the top one last. I don't recommend this, but the reason I'm doing the top one last is because the bottom one, it's easier to hold the bottom one in place, right? Because you can rest it on your finger underneath, whereas when it's the other way around like this, you're kind of running the risk of interfering with the previous step that you put in, whereas you're much less likely to be interfering with it if you're doing it the other way around. So again, I'm just using the tweezers. That's a dumb idea. Okay. Put out your finger from either side is the way to go. All else is failing. And the reason I don't mind a bit of stare on the inside edge not being glued down. So the reason I don't mind, I'm only concerned about the overlap is it's best if when I don't know how that's fixed. I don't want to tear stairs out once I fit them. It's like they are not completely even, not by a long shot, but if you can fit miniatures into most of them, that'll do. But so it's like it isn't perfect. So if I switch this around, you can just see. If I tilt it up though, you can see those top two steps are a little bit wonky. And then finally, it's just fitting the central stairwell here. And again, in order to fit this, I'm just reaching in, well, pick my lead edge, sorry, then wedge it in between. Now, if like in this case, apparently it's ever so slightly too narrow, that's better from my point of view, because your first step here will force that tiny bit of extra width, and also it will then mean that it's the right width for all the other ones. Now, the only thing I don't like about this step is that it's too far away. So I'm setting it back. I'm not fussed about its alignment exactly with the back rail here. It's going to have a bit of a sticky out. If I'm not even going to probably end up filling that, and then I'm just going to spot glue it. Sorry, I should have got the light on it first. Yeah, this is the other advantage of an angle poise. As you can see, this is where it starts getting awkward to glue as well. Having to reach in from numerous different places. And that side's crept up a bit, so I'm just manoeuvring it down a bit. I'm trying to get the steps as parallel as possible. And then again, just grabbing the next step, checking my edges, picking my lead edge. Now, I'm intersecting my lines but only about the centre. So the other thing is you find that there's a bit of adaptation at this point as well, where you're still using your lines as guidance, but they are just being used to match into rather than so like this line is about 2/3 of the way down. I won't show you doing all of this, just to give you an idea really. And again, if stuff moves, just correct it. Try to make it so they're not wiggly wobbly, wiggly wobbly. The other thing I'm going to show you on this one actually, which is, I don't know, not everything's gone wrong. In some of the others, the staircase was too short, and I was ending up having to use like slithers like this and stick them onto the end of each stair until the stair fit, and then there was a bit of warping in the staircase, and so that was a nuisance. So I'm just going to get the staircase fitted, and then I'll show you the stairwell all done. So here we have the finished stairwell, and just chucked in a couple of guys so you can see. And scale on everything, so you can see that they stand everywhere. Give it a pan around. And yeah, that's it. So, as ever, I hope this has been of some use to you, and enjoy your modelling. Have a good one and take care. Catch you next time. Bye bye.